Jeff wrote from Two Hacks Garage. Well, the title says it all. What are DLC lifters and why am I using them? Well, first, let's start off a little bit. Over the past few years, there's been many videos, articles, you name it, on camshaft failures, lifter failures, and that has primarily been on the world of flat tappet camshafts. That's led to a major shift in roller cams, and you know what, guys? It's metallurgy. It's improper break-in. It's not using the correct oils. It's a myriad of things. But when you really dive into the data, and I like reading a lot, and in my 9-to-5 job, I do a lot of work with data. And one of the major malfunctions of a camshaft with the lifters in the cam usually occurs during break-in. Another part of that is, well, you know what, guys? Debris gets into the engine. And if debris gets into an engine, it is more prone to wipe out a camshaft and lifter on a flat tappet setup versus a roller setup. Another thing is oil. Oil has changed dramatically over probably the last 40, 50 years, really. But one of the things is when you're running a flat tappet camshaft, you need those additives in there like zinc, ZDDP, all that fun stuff that really makes the the flat tappet lifters work flat tappet camshafts. Today's modern oils that you can just buy off the shelf, most of it doesn't have that. So between improper break-in, improper lubrication, and proper oiling, that also causes a lot of failures. Another big one, well, all this stuff, generally speaking, is made of cast iron. A lot of the camshafts, it's a cast iron billet. The lifters traditionally have always been cast iron. Cast iron is extremely durable. It takes a lot of abuse. It's been in these engines for 100 years, and it's tried and true technology that, you know what, guys, over the years has changed. Why has it changed? Well, it used to be a very common material to get a hold of for these foundries, cast iron. It was readily available all the time and cheap. However, over the times, that's not the case anymore. And a lot of foundries are kind of having to rethink the way they cast things, and they're going more towards alloys, powdered metals, stuff like that. So when they're casting these, it's not the same tried and true cast iron lifters of yesteryear with the same tried and true oils that had all the nice additives. And that metallurgy change, well, that's causing a lot of failures too. I do watch a lot of videos on this. I do a lot of research, talk to friends that have these failures, and I look at it, and you can see on any of those three examples I gave you why things are failing. However, that's not about this video. That's just setting up why I am going to be using DLC lifters and what they are. I know a lot of people, the roller cam is the way to go. That's the way you got to go. And you know what? Probably right. I'm not going to give my 2 cents on that. But like you, I work a 9-to-5 job, and I try to stay on a budget as much as I can. This is a 292 small block based off a 283. Behind the camera, I got a 311 small block based upon a 302. My big block Ford, well, you know what? It's got a 521 cubic inch big block Ford in it. And, that has a flat tappet camshaft. And so are these. And you're probably asking why. I'm pretty old school, but the main reason why I like running flat tappet camshafts is budget. I do a lot of engine building, and I obviously have a whole lot of projects going on. And I prefer sometimes, let me figure out what's affordable and how to make that work. So this engine here, it's getting a hydraulic flat tappet camshaft setup. Same with my 311. And before, I might have been a little bit worried about the lifters and all that type of stuff set up. But, really after doing my research, guys, there is a way to safely do this and not have to have that worry as much as you used to. First off, what we're going to do is we're going to show you a camshaft and kind of talk about how these lifters actually work with it. All right, guys. So this is where I'm going to talk a little bit about a flat tappet cam and the flat tappet lifters. So here's camshaft. This is going to be one I'm using in the 292. This is an Isky 280H Mega. And if you can see, when they call it a flat tappet, well, your cam lobe actually isn't flat. That is actually curved right there. So that term flat, well, it's not actually flat. Now, that being said, your lifter, this is just a general lifter here, right here for a small block Chevy. It's a hydraulic lifter. Well, on the face of that, believe it or not, this is actually crowned. You really can't see it, but that is actually crowned. So the whole thought behind this is when the cam comes up and pushes up on the lifter. Oh, real quick, guys. On your actual camshaft, your lobes actually are tapered. A small block Chevy is actually tapered to the front, which pushes the cam back in the block. But that taper and that crown has a direct correlation. What's that direct correlation? Well, when you talk about proper oiling, proper spring pressure, and all that in the lifter bore, so what happens is when that comes up, these lifters actually spin on top of there. It's held back by the cam shaft being tapered and that crown. And what that does, it makes a wear pattern slightly on the face of this lifter. So that's why when you have a camshaft, your lifters need to stay in the bore which lobe it came from. So yeah, these things on startup, that's why you run them to break them in at that 2,000, 2,500 RPM for 15 to 20 minutes. And what you're doing is you're quote unquote seating or calling and breaking in the lifters to the actual camshaft lobe. So when that thing goes through there, it's developing its pattern, its location of where that's going to sit in there. So like I said, there is a crown, there is a taper on the cam lobe, and these are meant to spin in that bore like that on the camshaft, and that's how it works. So what's happening is on the actual lifter itself, here, due to the metallurgy, proper break-in, proper oiling, what you're seeing is these lifters, they'll start developing a groove. And then that groove starts eating into your cam lobe. And when that happens, you're getting metal down to the engine. Not to mention, these things are supposed to spin. And when they're not spinning and going up in there, there's a good chance these can actually get stuck. It's not pushing on the push rods correctly. It's just a mess. So between improper oiling and proper break-in, what you're seeing is these cams and the metallurgy process is different. Well, what you're seeing is the camshafts, they'll wipe out here. They'll wipe a lobe out. And you know what, guys? They put a bunch of metal down in the engine, and it's trashed. First off, I'm not saying if you're running a flat tappet camshaft that you're going to have a problem. I'm not saying at all. But like you guys, we understand today's world of the 3 different failures we have talked about, that, it has been a common problem. And like you guys, I do work hard for my money, and I do want things that last. And in order to do that, you got to use quality parts. And in some cases, you got to do a lot of research. So when I decided that I was going to be running flat tappet camshafts for my 292 and my 311, I started doing a lot of research on what I could do for lifters that would help prevent those failures of camshaft lifters. One, I did buy really quality camshafts. I bought 2 Isky cams. Really love Isky. They're old school, and they happen to have the grinds that I wanted. Second part is, after I did a lot of research on lifters, I came across Comp DLC lifters. I'm not affiliated with Isky with the cams, and I'm not affiliated with Comp. I bought both of them, but I did a lot of research, and I came across these lifters, and it's called a Comp DLC lifter. So what is DLC? Well, that's diamond-like carbon. So it's a diamond-like carbon coating. All right, so what does this diamond-like carbon actually do? Well, the neat thing is this diamond-like carbon actually acts like diamonds. And if you notice, diamonds most of the time are extremely slick, they're extremely durable, and they're extremely hard. Well, in this case, if you take a look here, you see how that's finished? Well, when they finish these lifters, they finish them a whole lot smoother, and they put that diamond-like coating on there. So what that is, it's pretty simple, guys. That coating on there provides an extreme wear-resistant technology on there, and I'm going to show you right here what that looks like. You see how shiny that is? That's pretty shiny, right? And it's really, really slick. A traditional lifter is going to look like this. While this is face to spin, you can definitely see the difference on that. In fact, I'll do a side-by-side comparison. There's quite a bit of difference. So this is a traditional lifter, like I said, and these were cast iron and or like an alloy metal. These are getting traditionally a lot harder to find, and that's why we had talked about earlier. You're seeing with different metallurgy changes, oil changes, and stuff like that, you're starting to see these fail. So one common thing was steel lifters and steel camshafts. However, if you were to take a steel lifter and you would use that with a cast iron camshaft like I have, well, I tell you what, guys, that cast iron camshaft would just eat the living hell out of a steel lifter, and that is no bueno. It would actually do the same thing. So what did cams do? Well, they ended up taking a steel lifter and they faced the bottom of it extremely smooth, and they added that diamond-like carbon coating on there. It's a mouthful. And when they did that, if you take a look, that is extremely smooth. So when having that extreme hardness on there, you're not actually going to penetrate the metal on here, and you're not going to penetrate the metal of the camshaft. It is extremely slick. It's tough. It's very durable. Like I said, it's slick. Extreme anti-wear built into that, and it has a high lubricity rate on there, aka able to oil very well. And if these things are able to stay, it still has that crown on there, slick like that with the oil you need, well, that's going to spin very well, and you're not going to run the chance of wiping out a cam like a traditional lifter. So that's pretty much that on that piece of it. You know what, guys, if you just take a look at that again, that's a huge, huge difference in technology. And, after doing a lot of reading on this, the amount of time that was tested on this, they just didn't take a lifter, make it steel, throw a coating on there and say, hey, we're going to throw this out to the market. I did my research, and they used a spintron machine to actually test these. And they tested it for quite some time and determined that this actually works. I went through a couple iterations of it, and you know what? After doing my research, I determined this is the way I need to go. I work hard for my money. I want my camshafts to last. And you know what? I'm really digging it. All right. Well, I hope you learned a little bit of something on the actual DLC lifter. There's a lot of science and a lot of testing that goes behind these. Another benefit of these is, well, you know what, guys? You can use it on a cast iron or a steel core cam. It's a good replacement for hard to find lifters. And with that diamond-like coating on there, it really helps cam failures not happen. In fact, I did a little bit of reading on that, and after they did their testing on these lifters looked almost brand new. One thing it did say on there, a guy that did a lot of testing on this said, you know what, with this type of lifter, you could almost forego not having to do that break-in for the camshaft. However, it's not suggested because you need to get that stuff just right. Yes, it's a very durable, safe lifter. A lot of people are probably wondering, well, what's the price on something like this? Actually, guys, this type of stuff used to be extremely expensive, but due to the amount they manufacture on these generally speaking are only about $20 to $25 more a set of lifters comparably to a regular aftermarket lifter that you find on the shelf. So yeah, it is an affordable way to safely run a flat tappet camshaft, and the research and science is behind it. And you know what, guys, I can't wait to see how these perform. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link out there to the DLC lifter to kind of better explain it. But yeah, guys, this is a safe, affordable way to run a flat tappet camshaft, kind of get some of that worry away from you. And the neatest part about this is they're budget friendly. We all work hard for our money, and when we can find stuff like that, well, in Two Hacks book, that's a win-win.